Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where I talk about anything, everything, and, well, anything about movies. If you were just now clicking on this episode, and we're 20 seconds in, yes, I did title this episode A.S.S. Movie Reviews and News. Now, I did put them as separate letters, so A.S.S. Movie Reviews, because we're going to be doing 3 movie reviews today, and I wanted to play around with it and just have you guys actually think it was about asses or something. But we're going to be reviewing 3 movies, and we're going to be going over a shit ton of movie news, because let me tell you, this has probably been one of the heaviest news-related weeks I've seen in a while, and we got to go over some of this stuff. But I'm not doing this alone, because I highly doubt you guys want to listen to me in my scraggly 12-year-old prepubescent voice for an hour. That's why I brought in someone new. You guys don't know him yet. But it is Cameron Morewood, and this is actually his first podcast, so treat him kindly, and if not, just throw popcorn at him. I don't know what the fuck you guys do nowadays. So, Cameron, what is going on?
Nothing much. Just hanging out, talking to you. Saw some good movies recently, so eager to talk about those.
Where do you hail from, sir? Go ahead and tell the people a little bit about you.
I live in Southern California. I'm about 20 minutes outside of Los Angeles and about 10 minutes next to Disneyland. So if you know where those things are, that's where I am in the world.
Okay, well, I don't really know anything because I'm from Dallas, Texas, so the only thing I can see out my window is the Dallas Zoo, a mugging, and I think there's some grass over there. So, I mean, I'm not in, like, the most interesting places, but, you know, I make it work. So, let's get this started, because, there's just a lot to talk about. So, let's go ahead and start with the first piece of news, and that would be Suicide Squad. Now, if you guys remember, I talked about this, like 4 episodes ago, and I described the cast of Suicide Squad and who's in it, but guess what? Someone has dropped out, and that would be one of Tom Hardy. So who they want to get to replace him? Jake Gyllenhaal. But wait, that doesn't fucking work. So, you know, it kind of concerns me that Tom Hardy does not want to be in this, but at the same time, I understand. A lot of it is scheduling issues, and I put that in air quotes because that's absolute horseshit. There's something that went wrong on set that Tom didn't really like, and I think that's why he left. It could be because of the script, which are what websites are saying. It could be Will Smith's ego and having Jaden Smith probably prancing around on set like an idiot. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons why, but I mean, Cameron, do you have like any idea why Tom would leave Suicide Squad?
You know, I don't really know. I mean, he's obviously not opposed to doing comic book movies since he did Bane in Dark Knight Rises, but maybe he doesn't want to do any more comic book movies? You know, I'm not necessarily sure. Tom Hardy and Jake Gyllenhaal are both 2 of my favorite actors working today, so I was really pumped if either of them were going to be in that movie. But I guess it's a bummer that neither of them are going to be in that movie, but I'm still anxious to find out who's going to be replacing them. So
yeah, I mean, it's really strange because the movie's going to be about Jared Leto. We're all of our eyes are on fucking Jared Leto and how he's going to pull off the Joker. So, in that regard, I understand why he maybe left. Maybe he felt like, shit, man, I don't want to be sitting in the back seat while Jared Leto's getting all the glory, you know? It could be the script. It could be Will Smith's ego. It could be Jaden Smith. I'm sorry, guys. I really hate Will Smith's ego. But, I mean, we have no idea why they left, but it does kind of concern me just a little bit, because I've said this from the beginning. If Batman v Superman does not fucking knock it out of the park, DC's done. I'm sorry, but like, Cameron, did you like Man of Steel?
No.
Okay,
I'm not a big Zack Snyder fan. So.
Okay, so you guys are wondering why I brought Cameron on? Because he's got the same mindset as Jackson, and Jackson tears me apart when I say I like Man of Steel. But I actually liked Man of Steel a lot, and I think it's the best Superman movie that's been made. Whoops, shoot me with a pitchfork. But it also divided a lot of people. And so if DC does not deliver in Batman v Superman, they are absolutely 100% fucked. Because you can make a lot of money, but if your movie's less in story and all that stuff from Man of Steel, it's done. I'm sorry, but like you have lost the faith in them. They're going to just be Marvel fanboys forever. But you know what? I'm a fanboy of both. I got posters in my room right now of Marvel and DC, so I don't really care about the stupid little war going on, but they do need to nail this. But people leaving the Suicide Squad does kind of concern me just a little bit, but we'll have to see stuff from the movie before we can judge anything. So that's the first piece of news for today. The second piece of news is going to go by so fucking fast that you're not going to even know what just happened. It's going to feel like someone just molested you at a birthday party. The next piece of news is the Resident Evil, the final chapter, is shooting in August. Guess who gives a shit? No one.
No one.
Yeah, exactly. You know who does give a shit? That one trash can in Utah. Listen, I watched the first one. We all did. We were all fucking curious on how this franchise would be. I watched the first one. It's campy. I mean, there's really nothing more you can go beyond that, but every single one of them has come out. It's just been worse and worse. And it's like, how do you get worse when your movie is like up here, already at the line of worse, and then you just crawl deeper and deeper into this cold, sweaty pit of shit? Who, like, when they announced this, who cares? Who fucking said, who stood up and goes, I cannot wait for the final chapter of Resident Evil. I cannot wait to spend my $10 on this fucking movie. No. Cameron, in 3 words, how would you describe Resident Evil?
In 3 words.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a smart answer. I mean, do you really care about this?
Not at all. I mean, what is it, like the 19th one? I saw the first one on TV, and then I didn't watch any of them.
God bless your soul, sir. You saw it on TV. I saw it in theaters and had to let my eyes bleed. So that is that piece of news. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. If you guys like the Resident Evil movies, to each his own. I like the Man of Steel, so I can't really complain. All right, the next one on the news list is Nicolas Cage. We all love our Cage, right? He's actually going to be starring in a new movie. This idea sounds awesome for him. It's called Army of One, and it's about this guy who went to the Middle East to try to kill Osama bin Laden, basically single-handedly. And when I first heard this idea, I was like, did Nicolas Cage write this? Was he like the writer on this? Did he set himself up in this weird universe that he wants to be in? No, it's actually a real story, but you know what? I gotta buy it, man. Like, it's fucking Nicolas Cage, and this idea sounds like the idea of a century for him, so I'm all on board, man. I got nothing else more to say. Like, what do you think about it?
I have one problem with this idea, and that's that it's not called Zero Dark Cage. That's
A
serious missed opportunity right there.
Or we could do the Hurt Cage or the Cage Locker. We could also do American Cage or Cage Sniper. Pretty much anything to do with the Middle East. But yeah, the Zero Dark Cage. That sounds like a really trashy romance novel that you would find at your local Walmart for like $2 next to like 50 Shades of Grey or something. So, I mean, yeah, that sounds like a good title. But yeah, Army of One, Nicolas Cage, killing Osama bin Laden, sign me the fuck up. Alright, next piece of news. Everyone is complaining over, I don't know why, Simon Pegg is going to co-write Star Trek 3. Now, the people that are complaining are like, why is a movie star writing a movie? He only acts. No, listen, let me lay some knowledge on you folks. He has written several movies. Look at the trilogy he did with Edgar Wright. He co-wrote all 3 of them. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End. The guy's a brilliant writer. And I think bringing him on, I'm excited for this. I'm actually just excited to see like what kind of cool little spin he's going to put on the 3rd one. Because he's been with the first 2. He knows that tone. But he's going to put his own fresh spin on it. And I think that's fantastic. So what do you think about this, Cameron?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I mean, there were rumors at first that like it was fully going to be in the hands of Alex Kurtzman and Robert Orci, and I thought that was terrifying. So I was glad when Justin Lin got on to direct, and I'm even happier that Simon Pegg's helping write the screenplay. I mean, I've gone from thinking Alex Kurtzman and no Abrams, no, I'm out of here, and then now that Simon Pegg's on, like I genuinely want to see it. So
yeah, he brings like such a a peppiness to every single script. Like, there's always like that like high energy you can only expect from Simon Pegg. And I think he's actually going to bring that. I think he can bring it in the humor and the action. And I think the third Star Trek definitely needs that. So I'm all on board. And hey, listen, I like the first two, but if Simon Pegg can pull this off and Star Trek 3 is awesome, it could possibly be the best one, period, specifically for Pegg's writing. So I am totally okay with that. All right. The next piece of news for all you horny housewives out there that listen to my show, probably at gunpoint. So apparently there's a controversial scene in 50 Shades of Grey in the book. It's not going to be in the film. What's that scene, you may ask? Oh, I don't know. What's the woman's name, Cameron?
Anastasia.
Oh, cool. So I'm glad that just pierced my brain. So Anastasia Steele goes into Christian Grey's office. She has a tampon in her cooch. Christian Grey sticks his nasty, probably diseased hand up her snatch, pulls out the tampon, and they start fucking doing it. And he probably throws the tampon in slow motion, hits the ground with the blood and everything. That's not in the movie? I'm okay with that. Why the fuck would you want to see that? Like, seriously, can you imagine, like, the Christian Grey going, like, up to her? Listen, baby, I know you got that towel in you right now, but I'm going to yank that thing out. I'm going to drive it home. Okay, in what world does that fucking sound sexy? I don't know. Not this planet? Listen, I don't care if it's fucking trashy erotica. Those things exist. You don't need that scene in there. And I'm sure a bunch of housewives everywhere are writing their angry forums on, I don't know, the Home and Garden website or something. It's like, my favorite scene in 50 Shades of Grey is not going to be in there. I wanted that tampon scene. No, you're just lonely and you're pathetic. Just stop it. You know what?
What's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what would Last Tango in Paris have been if Marlon Brando had not put the butter in his ass?
I know, right? It's like
exactly what I thought of when I read about what that scene was.
Yeah, because like when I saw the headline, I was like, which part is it? Like the whole book is like sexual trash. Like what could honestly be controversial? Then I read it, I was like, huh. So that happens in life. So you know what's really sad is I'm probably gonna have to see this movie because I write for a website, ladies and gentlemen, and she sends me to movies that she does not want to see. If we get a press screening to this bad boy, I'm going to have to go see it. So I'm just going to let you guys know I'm going to shoot myself in my dick. So there you go. All the housewives that have to listen to this show at gunpoint, I'm sorry, I just broke your night. So the next piece of news, and the final piece of news, is very interesting. So X-Men Apocalypse is coming out. X-Men Days of Future Past was a great hit. I love the film. It was actually a really good comic book movie and a good movie in general. So X-Men Apocalypse is already going to have this like humongous buzz around it. It's going to be set in the 80s and it's going to focus more on the younger X-Men. Not a problem. So Bryan Singer tweets out that they casted Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm. Now, I don't know the two girls that were casted. One of them is Alexandra Shipp and the other is Sophie Turner. But Cyclops is interesting. They cast Ty Sheridan. I think that's awesome. I've always liked Ty Sheridan. Ever since I saw him in Mud, Tree of Life, you got Joe from last year. The guy's a great actor. The only problem is no one really gets him out of his comfort zone, you know? Like, because he always plays like kind of that southern, like, kid. You know, the, oh, how you doing there, sir? Like, type of deal. That's not a problem. I want to see him kind of expand more outside of that, and I think putting him inside of a comic book movie, totally out of his wheelhouse, and I'm actually all for it. As far as the other two actresses go, I'm not a misogynist or anything. I don't know much about them, but I don't know, Cameron, do you know much about the actresses that were cast?
I know about Sophie Turner. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
Ladies and gentlemen, secret time. I have not seen Game of Thrones yet.
That's the problem. Yeah, Sophie Turner's on Game of Thrones, and she's very good. So I'm excited about that one. I don't know who the other girl is. So
I don't either. But I mean, have you seen Ty Sheridan's movies?
Oh yeah. I'm totally excited about Ty Sheridan.
Yeah,
I still need to see Joe, but I really liked Mud. So.
Joe was fantastic, and that was actually like the first movie that actually made me go, "Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage won an Oscar at one point during his life." So yeah, Ty Sheridan's cool. I actually met him, and I got to interview him for Joe, and he's a cool kid, and just his relaxed demeanor, like he just seems like a cool dude. He's a great actor. And he actually kind of looks like James Marsden, kind of like if you wanted to kind of typecast in that realm. Like he looks like a younger Cyclops. I can totally buy it, but you got to keep in mind he's going to be wearing the goggle piece the entire time. Well, we don't know, but like, yeah, if he's wearing the goggle piece, like we won't be able to tell half the time who he is. But I mean, Ty Sheridan, always a win. Bryan Singer, just don't invite him to birthday parties. I'm sorry. That was a terrible joke / reference to what happened. I'm sorry, Mr. Singer. Listen, side note, I always said if he did it, let him rot in hell. But if he didn't do it, that kid that accused him, he can go suck a cactus dick. I don't know. All right, so that is it for all the pieces of news, guys. There are no trailers that came out this week. I mean, there were, but there weren't any that I wanted to talk about. And they were all kind of... they weren't even independent trailers. They were just like low budget. What the fuck is that trailer? So I was like, I'm not going to... We have too much to talk about. I'm not going to waste my time. But those are the pieces of news, guys. What do you guys think about the movie news for this week? Comment in that place right below my voice and let me know. All right, Cameron. Let's do this, man. Let's get into the meat of this podcast. Now, when I went over the Oscar nominations last week with Terrence, I had not seen Selma, American Sniper, or Still Alice. And I was like, I gotta catch up. You know, the awards are coming next month. I gotta catch up on that shit. I still got 2 more to see. I got Theory of Everything left and Wild left. And then that will be it for my Oscar movies. But this is gonna be interesting. I don't know where to start. Let's start with American Sniper, the controversial one on the list. Now, I do not know what Cameron thinks of any of these movies. This is totally off the cuff. But I'm going to ask Cameron for each one of them whether he likes it, it was okay, or he hates it. I will say the same thing and then we'll kind of go into it. So, American Sniper, Cameron, did you like it? Did you hate it? Or was it just okay?
I hated it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Not a fan.
I hated American Sniper. Now... Me and Cameron are smart, okay? And listen, before I start this review, I am not saying that I am for war, anti-war, or against any military people. So with that out of the way, let's break this down. I'll go first on this one. The reason why this movie does not work, like, first of all, it's an adaptation. And people are claiming, like, it's really true to the book, man. I don't care if it's fucking 100% accurate to the book. You need to adapt for the big screen. And if that was literally a book translation for that movie, it did not work. Why did it not work? Because that thing was so flashy and so pro-war America in your fucking face, it totally took everything away. Another problem, they focused more on the fight scenes than they did on the emotional death between Cooper's character and his wife, played by Sienna Miller. That was the second problem. Third problem is that everything happened way too fast, especially the end. The end pissed me off to no end. The end just happened. It was done. And then the credits rolled, and it's like, really? Like, that's it? Fourth thing, fake baby. Fifth thing, they needed to explore Cooper's psyche more. I'm sorry, I don't care if Chris Kyle was like that in real life. Because when your character is cold and distant, you as an audience member feel cold and distant. You just feel like, well, I'm just watching something. I really don't feel that connection, you know? So they needed to explore why or how he was feeling and how he was thinking when he was killing all those people. And they didn't explore that at all. It was just a one-note thing throughout the entire thing. Oh, hi, honey. You don't look right. Are you okay? The war is affecting you? I'm sure it is. Next scene cut, and it goes to completely something different. And then, like I said, the fight scenes. Or the war scenes or whatever. Not only were the terrorists or whatever one-dimensional and so cookie-cutter, it was ridiculous. They focus more on that than when he was at home talking to his wife about how he was feeling and that. If they focused more on his psyche and just how he was affected emotionally and it scarred him, I would buy this movie. But I can't get over that fact. And like I said, I'm not against the military. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that like what he did wasn't right, was wrong, whatever. But you have to judge it as a movie. And as a movie, those are the problems I found with it. The only thing good, and this is it for me, Bradley Cooper. Now listen, does he deserve that nomination for the Oscars? Hard to say. I thought he was actually good in the movie, and he was good with what he was given and what Eastwood was directing him to do. So in that regard, I think he did pretty good. But other than that, I just hated it. So with my rant out of the way, I'm going to let Cameron take over now because he's probably got some of the same fucking shit I just said.
Yeah, I mean, I agree about Bradley Cooper. I thought he was trying really hard to find depth in a character that just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the character of Chris Kyle, as he is written for the movie, I, of course, can't comment on him in real life, apart from what he said in his autobiography, but we'll stick to the movie.
Exactly.
But he's just so black and white, you know. I didn't feel like there was complexity there. I didn't feel like, you know, they explored that the way they should have. I agree with most, if not all, of what you said about that. So
it's just it's really disappointing that like people could be so blindsided. Now I understand like a movie's intent to like, yeah, America, yeah, like I understand that, but like when you're so blue in the face about it and you don't add anything else with it, it's very distracting. And that's what I got from this movie. And I know a lot of people that are going to listen to us, they're going to fucking hate what we're saying right now. There's many other war movies that are better than it. And a lot of people are saying that American Sniper is like their favorite movie now, the favorite war movie. No, I'm serious. Like Cameron just made a face right now because we did this thing over FaceTime. You guys can't see his face, but he kind of scringed. Listen, a lot of people on my Facebook list, and if you're listening to this, you know who you are. Have you not seen any other war movies? I'm sorry, but like, it kind of irks me a little bit, and it just. Was Bradley Cooper warranted for the nomination? Sure, I'll give him that. Was it warranted for Best Picture? No. I don't even think it should be anywhere near that thing. It's just the Best Actor category was a stiff competition year. It's understandable. But as far as Best Picture goes, no. Screenplay, hell no. As a writer, I was thinking to myself, this thing is nominated for a screenplay nomination? No way. No way, man. Like, you gotta be kidding me. So, to wrap it up, I don't know. I've been going back and forth on it. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Strictly for Cooper's performance. That's it. I can't get to fresh. I'm sorry. So people are listening out there. If you really liked American Sniper, good for you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just telling you that like this propaganda piece is just very flashy and it's just there's no substance. So that's just my take on it. So Cameron, what are your overall thoughts on it, and what do you get out of 10?
Well, I'll make people feel a little bit better about your rating and give it a 2.5. But,
So he bumped it up by 1 point. It really doesn't make a difference.
I think there's a problem when you go and you make a 2.5-hour movie trying to focus so hard on this character, but then choose not to explore the character.
Exactly. That's the biggest fucking offense to this movie, is that you are supposed to be focusing on Chris Kyle. You didn't focus on him. You focused on some war scenes and not exploring like what that fucking does to someone, you know?
Yeah, and even with the fact that they focused on the war scenes, they didn't bother to develop an opinion about the war or the war scenes. They just showed them, you know? And I think there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
It happened. It all happened so recently. I think the film has to take some stance on this, and Clint, as a director, Clint Eastwood, has to, you know, have some. He has to be part of that film. I think it's important for directors to, you know, have a presence in their movies.
Yeah, and I like Clint Eastwood as a director. He's had more misses in the present time, but like I love Mystic River. I love Unforgiven, so I know he's got it in him. It's almost like the other producers on this film were just like, "Hey, Clint, make this like for war movie and make it as like propaganda-y as possible." It was shot well, and it was acted well from Bradley Cooper. That's all I can give it. I just thought it was choppy. It was just so stilted in its editing, and that's another thing. It was edited so awkwardly. Everything just happened so fast, and it would just jump, just things to kind of string it together. There was no kind of like fluidity at all. So sorry, everyone that liked American Sniper. Just gonna have to deal with it. So that's what we think of American Sniper. I gave it a 4 out of 10. He gives it a 2.5 out of 5, which is basically a 5 out of 10. So
I gave it a 2.5 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay, I misread that. So I went a little higher than him, and he was courteous about it. So, 2.5 out of 10 is pretty bad. So, listen, if you were curious about it, we're not telling you not go see it. Go see it. But
I mean, it's sparking such a huge debate that if, you want to be able to have a part in that debate,
go for it.
It's almost, we were talking about 50 Shades of Grey earlier, completely different films. But, I almost want to see that one just so I can be part of the discussion that's obviously going to ensue when that film makes all the money it's, obviously going to make.
Exactly. And it's one of those movies that, like, when we get to the box office results for the weekend, you'll see how big this thing is. Like, we do not like it. But it has a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's blowing up all over the country. Like, it's raking in so much money, I can't fathom it. But then again, war movies do that, so it doesn't really surprise me all that much. All right, so that's our thoughts on American Sniper. Let's move on to Cameron. I'll let you pick this one. What you want to go Selma first or Still Alice?
Well, why don't we go Still Alice and finish with Selma?
That sounds like a plan, because I think just the way you said that, I think we're about to agree on this. I'll let you go first on Still Alice. What did you, or actually, no, did you like it? Was it okay? Or did you hate it?
I liked it. I did like Still Alice.
Okay. I thought it was okay. It's not to knock the movie at all, because it's way better than American Sniper. It was just okay to me. So, Cameron, I'll let you take this one first. What did you like about this movie?
I thought, obviously the production values aren't super high, and some of the cinematography is a little flat, so those would be my complaints.
Yeah.
But I thought the direction, as far as really grasping what it's like to forget yourself and forget the people you know, and, walk into a room and forget where you are, that was horrifying to me.
It's one of like the worst fears you can ever have as like a human being. It's like holy fuck, this could happen to anyone.
Yeah, it was scarier than most of the horror films I've seen recently.
Yeah.
It really kind of got to me. So, especially I've had grandparents who have had Alzheimer's and stuff, so I know what that's like, and
it sucks.
It can be scary stuff.
Yeah,
and Julianne Moore was fantastic. I think she's a lock to win the Oscar. So I dug it. Good stuff.
I thought it was okay. Here's the one thing, like, there's literally like a 2-minute scene before she gets diagnosed, and that's it. The whole movie is basically her digression with Alzheimer's and stuff, and I thought that was fine. I just kind of wish there was more to it a little bit. I kind of wish there was like maybe the first act was like her teaching and stuff, kind of like maybe just a little bit more of her life first before we jumped into it. I think that was my main problem. But it wasn't a problem. It was just kind of like jarring just to be like, the movie starts, bam, she's got it, So I like I said, I thought it was okay. There were some highlights in this movie for sure. I've always talked about the mouth breather, a.k.a. Kristen Stewart, on this podcast many times. You know what? She warrants a good performance in this. I'm telling you, I've always said that like her and Robert Pattinson, when they're under the right directors, they can do something. Taylor Lautner, on the other hand, he doesn't do good regardless. Like, no. He's terrible. But when Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart are under the right people, they can deliver good performances, and she delivers a fantastic performance in this. I like Alec Baldwin in it. Kate Bosworth does her thing in it. But yes, this is, without a doubt, Julianne Moore's movie. She's in this movie probably, I would say 95% of the time. Like, almost every scene and every shot is with her in it. And she carries this film, and she really shows you the just transformation. Because at the beginning of the movie, she's happy-go-lucky and stuff. And then towards the end, you can see on her face, like, she is fucking devastated that this has happened to her. And, like, she's starting to slowly forget stuff. And, you know, there's a couple times where I teared up. You know what? I'm a fucking man with some testicles. I'll tell you when I cry. It was tough to watch on some of that stuff. Like, there was a couple scenes where, like, there was one where she was delivering a speech to the Alzheimer's kind of little group meeting or whatever. That's not spoilers in the trailer. And, you know, that kind of got to me. And I was like, wow, like, she's just kind of accepting this, and she can't get rid of it. Like, she just has to kind of go with it. And it's just really terrifying to know that you could be a normal person, and this could hit you. And one line that really got to me the most was when she said, "I'd rather have cancer." It's true. For all you guys that don't know this, Cameron, this is actually your first time hearing this. I have Crohn's disease. I have a shitty disease inside my intestines, and I gotta live with that shit every single day. But I agree with Julianne Moore in that sense. I would rather have Crohn's disease than Alzheimer's. I really would, because it's seriously the most terrifying thing. Like, when you are going through life and you gather all this information, you gather all the memories, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, you want to remember that when you're older. Like, when you're, you know, in your last final years or whatever. To forget all that, it's just, that scares me, man. And, like, when you're watching the entire thing, it's just, you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, wow, I do not want that to happen. And, yeah, her performance knocks it out of the park. And she's going to win the Oscar. However, if someone else wins, I wouldn't be shocked. But, yeah, she is definitely a lock. Her and J.K. Simmons for Best Supporting Actor, those are the two, hands down. You can't touch them. But everyone else does fine. Like I said, it was just okay for... I think the story was just simple. Now, I don't mind a simple story. Look at Whiplash. That's like the most simple story on the planet. Miles Teller becomes this jazz musician, drummer. He's being tortured by J.K. Simmons. He gets knocked down. He rises up and he fights against him. That's a simple story. Still Alice is also a simple story. It's basically like she's got Alzheimer's, and then she slowly digresses into this kind of empty shell of a person. And I just wish maybe that there was a little bit more before it, I guess. It was just kind of hard to, like, kind of get into right off the bat. But, like, as the movie did progress, I did enjoy it and invest myself a lot more, so it did help. So, overall, you know what? I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think it warrants to be seen. I just thought, in my eyes, it was just okay. But I did enjoy the performances. Like Cameron said, the cinematography is not, like, extravagant or anything, but it's a clean looking movie. It's not dirty or anything. Yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for the performances, for the emotion behind it, but I just wish there was a little bit more to the story. But Cameron, your final thoughts and what you would give it out of a 10.
Yeah, again, I mean, I don't think there's anything more terrifying than losing control of your own mind, you know, and just not having any awareness. I mean, that was just, you know, that hit me. And yeah. I've seen a couple other films about Alzheimer's, you know, and that were done really well like that. Yeah. So I really dug the movie. I give it 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. So yeah, we're on the same page, folks. Like, if Still Alice is in your area, please go see it. I literally just saw it today, and that's only because it just now got to Dallas. Cameron's an asshole because he lives in California and he gets everything when they fucking open. It's like, hey, you know that movie that's opening on that day? Yeah, Cameron gets to see it. When do I get to see it? Probably 2 months after that. So, Cameron, go fuck yourself in that regard. No, I hate everyone that lives out in California because you guys get everything when it fucking opens when it's supposed to. do you want to comment on that one? Like, do you feel fucking privileged that you get to see every movie when it comes out?
I mean, yeah, it's still like a 45-minute drive in traffic, but
who cares? Who cares, man? Yeah, because I'm sure Cameron, like, when Inherent Vice comes out in fucking December, he can go see it. I didn't see it until 2 fucking weeks ago because it just now hit everywhere on January 9th. So, fuck California and fuck New York for getting everything before us.
I saw it in 70 millimeter on December 12th, and I went and saw it again on January 9th. So I've seen it twice now.
You dirty, dirty asshole. I would have loved to see that thing in 70mm. Side note, I fucking loved Inherent Vice, but I said that in my previous podcast. I just love that thing. I love talking about it. So, those are our thoughts on Still Alice. Alright, so let's break down another controversial movie, Selma. I'll take this one first. I liked it. Cameron, did you like it? Was it okay?
I did. I liked it.
Okay, so we're on the same page on this one too. There's not really much back and forth going on, but then again, great minds think alike, so there you go. Alright, so Selma. First of all, after seeing it now, for the very first time, which was on Friday, why... I can understand David Oyelowo, and I know a lot of people will throw that in my face like, no, he should have been nominated. Listen, I can even warrant Bradley Cooper being in there. It was just a tough fucking category. That's just the way it is. But where is the director's name in that nomination list? Ava DuVernay, who directed Selma, she is a African-American woman. She directed Selma, and it's just a chilling, beautiful-looking movie on Martin Luther King Jr. and what he did with the march in Selma, and I thought she did a fantastic job. When I said in my previous review of The Imitation Game, I liked it, but it's not warranted of Oscars. Take the director of Imitation Game out, put her in there, and then you'll have a set list. So I think the directing is a snub, hands down. But as far as the movie goes, there's really nothing bad you can say about this thing. It's a good-looking movie. David Oyelowo kills it. He fucking embodies MLK. Like, I didn't even see the actor. It's just like with Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. He fucking got into that character. I saw MLK, and I saw, like, him delivering speeches, and I felt like I was watching a history movie, you know? Like, I felt like I was watching, like, actual archive footage, and it's just fantastic. Like I said, I love the cinematography. The cinematography is beautiful. I love the music. David Oyelowo is amazing in it. Everyone else does fine. That's the one thing I kind of like was just kind of okay with, was like everyone else's performances. Like, I like Tim Roth, Tom Wilkinson. Like, they're fine, but like they're not like, you know, holy shit, I gotta see the movie for them. You see it for David Oyelowo, but as far as the story goes, it's a compelling story, especially if you don't know much about it. I would say go in there blind. That way it kind of like heightens your historic senses a little bit, because it's just a fascinating time in history, and it just makes you wonder, as a human being, like, we fucking did that. We beat the shit out of our own species. Like, it's fucking sickening. And I'm just glad this movie was made, because people do need to see this. It's especially during this time, like when we have the whole shit. Cameron, what's the kid's name? The black kid that got shot.
Which one?
Do what?
Which one?
Which one? Good point. Eric Gardner was the choking one.
Eric Gardner was the one that was on video.
Okay, and then
he's the one who they were choking him.
Yeah,
and he's saying, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." Then he
okay,
wound up dead.
Okay,
that was Eric Gardner.
Yeah, him, and then the kid was Michael Brown. So
Michael Brown, yeah.
Yeah, with that shit going on, and this movie coming out, I think it's like even more important than it already is. Like, people need to watch this and go, we were fucking filthy, man. Like, we are a terrible, terrible fucking race. Like, it makes you just feel terrible, especially when you watch like 12 Years a Slave from last year. You feel like shit after you get done with that thing. After Selma, you feel like shit, but at the end, you feel kind of uplifted at the same time. You feel like, holy shit, I want to take a stand. I'm tired of racist assholes. because it is a thing that still exists nowadays. So, and it's really funny that like we used to do that to black people. Not even 60 years ago. Like it's hard to believe that fucking shit happened not even 100 years ago. So it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, so the movie will make you angry in that regard as like a human being. But as far as the movie goes, well-rounded. It's well-paced. Like the movie, it seems slow, but it's so engaging in what the characters are saying and what the dialogue is coming out of David's mouth, and the wife that, or his wife that is in the movie, their conversations alone, I really love, because that's the one thing I liked about this film is that it brought MLK down to like the most human level. Like it's nice to see movies where you take like a godlike figure and you bring him down to reality, and it's like, oh, he's just a human being just like the rest of us. And that's the one thing I really appreciate is you saw the activist side and you saw the human side of MLK. You combine that together, man, you got a fucking great movie. And listen, man, I know it's the dark horse for the Oscars, but hey, if it won Best Picture, I ain't gonna fucking complain. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So Cameron, what say you? What'd you like about Selma the most?
Oyelowo's performance probably was the highlight for me. He, like you said, he embodied that character.
Yeah.
I don't know if I liked it just as much as you did, because I did have a few issues with it. I thought, when they were doing the protests and everything, the movie was at its height, and I thought that was great. But I think some of the bits surrounding his personal life, kind of when he's some of that stuff slowed down a little bit for me. I thought they should have done something to make it a bit more engaging.
But did you still appreciate those aspects though?
Oh yeah. I just thought kind of a tonal inconsistency about how engaging the film was, and it kind of felt a little weird. It's a small complaint. It's not a huge thing at all. But yeah, I actually saw that the same day I saw Most Violent Year. I don't know if you've seen that one yet. And those were both shot by Bradford Young. So as far as the cinematography goes, it was really interesting to compare those. And they both have David Oyelowo in them. So
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, no, like Selma's a crisp looking movie. Like and here's the other thing I really liked about it. It made it. I couldn't really tell, but could you kind of like see like a sepia kind of mask over the entire movie, and it kind of looked like it was old.
Kind of, yeah. They do that for a lot of the period pieces that are around,
True.
40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
comic thing.
It had like this really cool like kind of color mask over it, and made that's what, going back to what I said, it made it look like I was actually watching archive footage. It kind of just looked like it was old and rusty footage that someone put together and made a movie. But yeah, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, and then as far as performances go, I don't know. I don't know the actor's name, but he was only in the movie for about 5 minutes. It's the old man. Do you know who I'm talking about? He was getting beat up in one of the beginning protests, and then there's about a scene that lasts a few minutes after something happens where he's talking with MLK.
Yeah.
And the sincerity of emotion that old man was able to convey just blew me away. That was the highlight of the movie for me.
You're talking about the one that was where the sheriff or whatever was like get on the ground or whatever, and he couldn't get on the ground, like physically could not. That was fucking heartbreaking to watch. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh my god, like he just wants to fight for his fucking people, and he can't get on the ground. Like, give him a break. Like, yeah, no, that guy was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not big enough to call a supporting performance or anything, but when I'm talking about Selma, I always want to note that. But then, one thing that I don't really know if it's a critical complaint that I can actually say, but the FBI logs that kept coming up at the bottom of the screen, those annoyed me.
They annoyed you? I thought they were actually kind of cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, like, it's something that we haven't really seen before, Well, I mean, we've seen it before, but, like, I thought it kind of worked. We haven't seen that kind of, like, in a movie in a while where it's, like, that's what I was saying, like, archive footage. Like, it made it seem like the FBI stole this footage or whatever, and, like, they're kind of logging it as they're editing. I don't know. I dug it, but, I mean, it only happens, like, 4 or 5 times, so it's not like it happens every single time it cuts to a new scene, but,
yeah,
I dug it.
I can see that. See, what I would say is I would rather, feel like I was actually there than I was watching archived footage. I
Yeah.
feel like if that text wasn't there, I would feel like, more like I was actually there and that it would be a little more intimate. But again, I have these few very small complaints. Most of the film is just great. I know people have been complaining about historical inaccuracies or something,
Whatever.
considering Lyndon Johnson.
It's a
I never
movie.
read up on it, so
It's a fucking movie. People just need to get over it. It's the same. Listen, actually, was Selma based off of a book per se, or was it just the event?
I am not sure. I'm not. That's something I should know, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I don't really know either. But like, Still Alice, American Sniper, these movies that we talked about, they're all based on books, and Selma's based off an event. I've said this once, and I'll say it again. When you are adapting something into a movie, whether it be a comic book, graphic novel, magazine, newspaper article, a book, whatever, you have to make it work for the big screen. And that's why American Sniper did not work, and that's why Still Alice did work, and that's why Selma worked in its regard. So, like, about the historical inaccuracies, who fucking cares? It's a movie. You are supposed to be different than what actually happened. Now listen, if in the movie MLK went to like fucking Hawaii and did this march, I'm sure people might say something about it. But it was in the same place that the march was at. A lot of the stuff that was in history books did happen. If they had to take some liberties and change a few things for the movie, if it served the movie, then it's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so
Makes sense.
people over... Oh, my God. All right, everyone that is listening right now, Cameron, sometimes this will actually happen when I'm live. All right, so just to let you guys know, there's an ambulance crossing down my street, which means I'll guarantee you there was some mugging at a Dunkin' Donuts somewhere. All right, so Selma overall, I'm going to give this thing... I'll go 8 out of 10. And there's no knock on this thing at all. I can't get it up to a 9 or a 10, but I really, really liked it. And it's actually my favorite out of the three we've mentioned today. So we're ending on a high note. Cameron, what would you give it out of 10?
I think I'll probably go 8 as well. I was going to go 7.5, but I gave Still Alice a 7.5, and I think it's better than Still Alice, so I didn't want any confusion there, so I think I'll go an 8 as well.
Okay. Two very good movies. One, we don't understand why it's being hyped up so much. So those are our thoughts on A.S.S, American Sniper, Still Alice, and Selma. That's right, I fucking named this episode A.S.S Movie Reviews. This is what you get. So what did you guys think of American Sniper, Still Alice, and Selma? Because listen, I'm not here to knock anyone down. If you actually have like a legit reason why you like American Sniper, come at me. I would love to talk to you about it. But if you just say, America, all that stuff, like just simple answers, I'm not going to take you seriously, man, because like me and Cameron gave you reasons why we dislike it. I would like to know your reasons on why you do like it, or why you hate Still Alice, or why you hate Selma. That's the fun about talking movies. All subjective, my friends. So that will do it for the movie review portion. All right, Cameron, let's go to the box office results for the weekend. Cameron does not know what the 5 are, but he does know what number 1 is because it was number 1 last week, so it's kind of hard to not be in the top 5. But first, before I say anything, 3 movies opened up this week. Only one of them made it into the top 5. Which one is it, though? You have The Boy Next Door, Mordecai, and Strange Magic. So before we even begin, I'm going to see if Cameron can get this right. Out of those 3, which one actually made it into the top 5?
I'll go The Boy Next Door.
You were correct. Before I get into the top 5, Mordecai came in at number 9 with $4 million, which is the exact amount that Black Cat came out with. Yikes. If you guys do not follow, or if you guys did not listen last week, I said that I do a segment on We Live Film every single week, and it's a comedy show talking about comedies and funny stuff in general. Last week, I went over Johnny Depp's filmography, and I said he was an excellent actor in the beginning, and he's done some, good films here and there. But overall, he's becoming a caricature of himself, and Mordecai is the exact fucking reason why we are tired of it. Because no one wants to see him prance around like a fucking idiot anymore. Like, we're sick of it. We're sick of the white makeup. We're sick of the booze-intoxicated characters. We're sick of the stupid John Clesto looking motherfuckers. Like, no, that's why Mordecai failed. We were getting sick and tired of it as the public. That's why. Number 7 was Strange Magic. So that was George Lucas's idea movie. Whatever. It didn't look appealing at all. So that was 7 and 9. So let's get into the top 5. Whoops. I just burped something awful. Sorry. Number 5, Taken 3, with 7.6 million. Domestic, if my computer will stop fucking up. Domestic is at 76, and worldwide it's at 225. Regardless if you hate the Taken series, guess what? On a budget of 48 million, getting 225, it made its money back plus some. So guess what? If they do Taken 4, Taken-er, don't be shocked.
Takening.
Yeah, the Takening, exactly. Do not be fucking shocked if they make a 4th one because you gave them the money. So that's number 5. Number 4 was from last week, and that would be The Wedding Ringer with 11.6 million. Domestically, right now, it's got 39 on a worldwide total of 41. Its production budget was 23, so it actually needs about $5 more million just to break even. Not really good for a Kevin Hart movie, so maybe people are starting to slow down a little bit on him. Number 3 is Paddington with 12 million. Domestically, it's got 40. Worldwide, it's got 169, and there's no budget listed, but I'm assuming 169 is pretty good for it. It is a good-looking movie, so it probably cost a pretty penny, but it'll probably make its money back. And number 2 was The Boy Next Door with 15 million. Cameron, I want you to guess the budget.
Let's see. I mean, you have to pay J-Lo, so there's a couple million.
Okay.
I'll say 5 million, maybe?
Close. 4 million. So, you did the math correctly, folks. It made 15 million on a budget of 4. Double the 4 to break even. Somebody needed 8 million to break even. Ladies and gentlemen, it doubled that, which means you gave your fucking money to it, which means they're going to make The Grandpa Next Door now. I don't understand, like... that'd be... sorry, if you guys know the plot to The Boy Next Door, The Grandpa Next Door would be pretty fucking disturbing. He'd probably be playing tetherball with his balls staring out the window. I don't know. I'll probably write that. So
that grandpa and the vending machine all over again.
Exactly. We don't want to see that in a serious stalker movie. It's dumb. Children, 13-year-olds out there, what are you doing paying money to see this shit? Okay? Go educate yourselves and see Selma. Why are you seeing The Boy Next Door? You can see Jennifer Lopez in scampy clothes all over the internet. Why do you need to watch a fucking movie based around it? You dumb people. Jesus. I'm sick and tired of like bad movies like being up there. It's just terrible. And number 1, it's the same as last week, American Sniper. And get this. American Sniper made 90 million last week. It made 64 million in its second weekend. What the fuck, man? Domestically, it's got 200. Worldwide, it's got 247 on a $58 million budget. Ladies and gentlemen, it has already made its money back. It is broken even and has surpassed that into the profit area. This is the most profitable Clint Eastwood movie in a long time, and it's one of the worst he's done. I don't understand, man. I'm just, my head hurts. Okay. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That will do it for this week's episode of Reel Me In: a movie podcast. If you want to comment on any of the news stories or the movie reviews that we just did. Comment at place to upload my voice and let me know. I want to thank Cameron for coming on. This is his first time we've actually talked in person. The reason why I brought him on, guys, is because I follow his tweets. I follow his Facebook stuff. He's a smart dude. He knows what he's talking about. So that's why I brought him on, to educate you guys on certain movies. Because here's the deal. Coming from a guy that likes American Pie, you need to bring smarter people on to like kind of bring me down into reality. It's okay. I understand that. Cameron's got the same personality as George and Jackson and Terrence. Pretty much every guest I've brought on, they've had the same personality. But that's cool, though, because it counteracts with me, and that's what makes for a good argument. But Cameron, I want to thank you for coming on. So where can the peeps find you online?
Well, like you said, you can find me on my Twitter. It's just my name, Cameron Morewood. I'm also on Letterboxd, Cameron Morewood. You know, pretty simple stuff. I have a YouTube channel, again, Cameron Morewood. I used to post reviews, not so much anymore. I post the occasional short film. I just did a big supercut video of my favorite movies from last year. Put that up, so...
Yeah, check him out, guys. There's a reason why I asked him to be on here, because he's a great reviewer. So please go follow him. He will do you a favor and put some knowledge into your skulls. So if you want to follow me on this website here to get live updates on when I do these things live or when I post them, you can follow me on Spreaker. Just click that follow button. I'm also on iHeartRadio, so everyone out there that wants to spread this podcast of a seed all over the internet, take the iHeartRadio link, share it to your friends and peeps. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's @RealChaseLee. Facebook, Real Reviews with Chase Lee. Give that thing a like. You'll get updates on live podcasts when I post them, movie reviews, news, what have you. My YouTube page, I got web series, short films, movie reviews, podcasts. There's a bunch of shit on there to keep you occupied for at least 2.5 hours before you get bored and go watch Hannah Montana or something. I don't know. What do you guys do nowadays? You guys don't even tell me anything. What do you guys fucking do nowadays? I just assume. So you guys watch Hannah Montana. So youtube.com/Shabutnik75, capital S, lowercase HABOOTNIK 75. Like I said, that will do it for this week. Cameron, I want to thank you for coming on. Hopefully, if I don't threaten you again, you'll come on again, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
totally.
See, Cameron's very timid, and he won't tell you why he's actually on here. I actually blackmailed him, and I have him going into which movie was it that I recorded you going in? I want to say, was it a Care Bear movie? I don't know. It was some type of movie that Cameron does not want you to know about, and like, he wore a trench coat, he went in there, and I was like, I got you on film, bro. You gotta come on the show, or I'm gonna tell everyone your secret. But I just told everyone your secret. Guys, he didn't watch the Care Bear movie. I actually did that. So, I want to thank Cameron for coming on. Hopefully he'll be back again. Maybe we can do a weird three-way between me, him, and Jackson, and have him and Jackson totally just like yell at me for liking a scary movie. So I want to thank you guys for listening. I want you guys to have a good day, good night, and if you're listening to us while taking a shit, that's okay. If I meet you, I just will not shake your hand. So that will do it for this week, guys. Next week, it's the first week in February. Might do some romance shit, might do some love shit. I don't know. It's romance month, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's going to be holding me. Fuck off, train. Did you guys hear that? There was a fucking train in the background. So, thanks for listening again to another episode of Real Me and Colon, a movie podcast. I'm Chase Lee. That's Cameron Morewood. Go follow him. I'll see you guys next week for another crazy fucking episode. Bye-bye.